your host, me, Antoine Wade. Tonight, we have another special guest on the On the Journey podcast, Mr. Eldred White. Eldred is an executive recruiter for Eldred White Recruiting. He has a degree in business from Hampton University. He's a very smart brother, graduating from summa cum laude. Eldred and I used to work together at E2 Open. And he has been very, very helpful throughout my entire career. You know, being that person that helped me transition back from Malaysia to the U.S. He always was a great business partner whenever I would come to the U.S. from Malaysia on some of my quarterly trips. Eldred was just one of those guys who is an executioner. And not only that, he's just a pleasure to be around. Has a positive attitude, just a great person with a great heart, man. Eldred, you know, since I did that introduction, man, tell the people how you doing, man. How you doing?
I am fantastic, Antoine. Man, you made me sound real good. I don't have to write some notes down when we finish the podcast. You made me sound so good. I was wondering who you were talking about. I am fantastic. I am living my best life, my friend. I am doing extremely well, and I'm blessed, and I'm happy, and I'm doing good.
Awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. Guys, we have a great show for you guys tonight. Check this out. We got some people in the chat already. We got Miss Tamara Wade in the house. We got King Ant 70. We got Mr. Billy Rowe. We also got Tiffany Wade and also Mr. Erwin Harry in the chat tonight. Guys, let's make it interactive. The topic for tonight is recruiting top talent and just recruiting in general. Eldred has a lot of years of experience within HR. He's gonna tell us a lot of stuff about how corporations work and the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. He's not gonna name any names, but the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we just don't know about, but also give us an advantage whenever we're out there doing some job hunting and things like that. So before we jump into the meat of the interview, let's do a little this or that. And this time, I actually am going to switch it up and we're going to do Would You Rather. Same concept as this or that, but it's more of a Would You Rather. So, Eldred, you ready, man?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
You ready? All right, let me get my timer going here, guys. Give me one second. All right, where's my timer? Here we go, right here. All right, we're going to do 3 minutes here. Timer. Let's get it started. All right, Mr. Eldred, you're on the clock now. Would you rather have or own a home in a busy city or in a quiet rural area?
Quiet rural area.
Okay. Would you rather buy something you don't really need or have money for food?
Have money for food.
Would you rather hang out with me at a beach or movies?
Movies.
Okay. Would you rather live one life that lasts 1,000 years or live 10 lives that last 100 years each?
10 lives that last 100 years each.
Ooh, okay. Would you rather go camping in the woods or stay at a 5-star restaurant at a beach?
Oh, absolutely 5-star. No camping for me. Yeah. No.
Okay. Would you rather go without your car or the internet for a month?
Well, the internet is how I make money, so I think I'm gonna choose the internet.
Okay. Would you rather play tennis or ping pong?
I played tennis in college, so I'm gonna say tennis.
All right. Tennis. Okay. Would you rather see a horror movie or a comedy movie?
God, I like both, but I'm not scared of horror movies, so I choose a horror movie.
Okay. Would you rather be a night owl or an early bird?
I'm actually a night owl.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I thought you would be an early morning guy, man. Okay.
You know what? Honestly, no, this may sound crazy, but I'm a little bit of both. I mean, I don't usually go to bed till about 12, and I'm up at 6.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're a combination of both then. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I'm a combination of both.
All right.
Early bird catches the worm.
Okay. All right. Check this out. Would you rather spend 2 months living in a nursing home or spend 2 weeks eating only from Taco Bell?
Taco Bell. That's a hard one. I'm gonna choose Taco Bell, although I don't want to be in a nursing home, so I'm gonna choose Taco Bell.
All right, we got a couple more left. Would you
Okay,
rather
this is
own a ski lodge or a surf camp?
definitely a ski lodge,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay. Okay. Would you rather ask for help or try to figure it out yourself?
Um, in my earlier years, I tried to figure it out. Now I just ask for help.
All right, last one.
I,
Would you rather
mhm.
go to an amusement park or a family reunion?
Family reunion for sure. Me and amusement parks don't get along.
All right. I think we know a little bit more about you, Eldred, man. So
Okay,
now let's jump into the questions, man. Tell
okay.
people. I did a nice introduction of you. Now nobody can introduce themselves and tell their journey like themselves. So let's start there, Eldred. Tell everyone your journey. Who is Eldred White and so forth, man.
So a lot of people don't know this, but Eldred White started out in banking at the age of 17 years old. I worked at a black-owned bank for 15 years and started working there at 17 years old while in high school, where I learned a lot from a lot of the people that worked at the bank. It was a black-owned bank in North Carolina, where I'm from, and I remember having a choice of working in banking or working for IBM. Well, I chose banking, and then they ended up hiring me, and I stayed there for 15 years. After 15 years in 1999, I left banking and I was looking to get into HR. I didn't have any experience in HR, so I wanted to get the experience. So I went out there and I started reaching out to staffing agencies, and I started working for a staffing company and rose up the ranks at a staffing company from a recruiter to a VP of staffing.
Mm,
And and the company closed, and then that's when IBM reached out to me for a contract role as a recruiter. And I'm like, I'm not going from a VP of HR to a contractor. That's not going to happen. I am not doing that. So
mm,
I ended up doing it, and I said I'd do it for a little while.
yeah,
And I ended up staying there at IBM for 10 years. The reason being is that while a contractor, they hired me permanently the next year. I was so busy recruiting that I didn't realize time had passed. And I held so many different roles at IBM. IBM was good to me. IBM opened my eyes to corporate America, opened my eyes to diversity recruiting, opened my eyes to diversity,
mm,
and opened my eyes to politics and how things go and how people have to play the role and how to advance. And I had so many different roles. They were good to me. I was thankful for them. But it did open my eyes to a lot of things. And then I went from there to being HR leader at a dealership, a car dealership, which was different, rewarding. And then it took me to E2 Open, and now I own my own recruiting company where I am finding talent, and I can find all kinds of talent, diverse, whatever I want when I submit the talent. Which is, I think you have to pay it forward, and I think you have to be impactful, and I think you have to help one another. And that led me to opening my own recruiting company.
mm,
And I
mm.
will say also 5 years ago, I started my travel agency as well. So I also own a very successful travel agency.
Wow, wow, that's an amazing story, Eldred. I want to dive a little bit deeper into that because I thought that was just a great story, especially when you were talking about, where you started. You were at a recruiter and then you rose your way up to a VP in your previous role before IBM. Talk about, that transition when you started as, entry level and really accelerated your career to a VP level position. Talk about that journey just briefly.
So it's one of those things where you step back to step up
Mm,
for a setup.
mm,
And I took a role as a recruiter after working in banking because I didn't know the HR side of it. I didn't know recruiting. I didn't know staffing. And I felt as though I could learn if I had the right people in
mm,
my space to help teach me. And so they did. So I went from a recruiter to an account manager to managing a team, and then rose up to the VP. One of the things I will say the reason that I was able to move up in that time frame is because I just didn't take no for an answer. I was hungry. I was eager to learn. I was determined not to fail. Failure was not an option, and it's still not an option today. But that's my mindset. I wanted to learn as much as I can. I'm a knowledge hog. If there is something that you tell me is my responsibility, I want to overachieve at it, and I want to do very well at it. And so I learned as much as I can. I learned as much as I could. I implemented new processes. I also went out and asked for the business while being in staffing, and that taught me the sales side of it. So then I coined the term sales is a satisfied adult looking for an effective solution. I coined that many moons ago. And
I love it. Say it again. Hold on. You gotta say it again because I gotta remember it. Say that again now.
Sales is a satisfied adult looking for an effective solution. And that's pretty good because I know. And the thing is, I would sit in front of these executives, these white men, and I would go in there asking for the business. And they were like, well, why should we do business with you? And I said, well, the thing is, why shouldn't you? I mean, we can find you the talent. We're going to go and we're going to do all the hard work. All you got to do is just pay us in the end for the talent that we're finding for you. You don't have anything to lose because if I don't submit great people, then you don't pay me. And he's like, well, I like you. I'm going to give you a chance. And I was like, okay. And so I went in and I was smiling. I had the pearly whites. I made sure I was clean cut. I was professional. I had on a nice suit and I was presentable. I articulated my words and I gave them eye contact every single time. And I was never intimidated by it. And it just taught me, wow, I mean, if I could do this, wow, the sky's the limit. I can take this to a whole nother level. And so I kept rising in the ranks and did very well.
Very powerful, man. That is very powerful. That's just a level of professionalism that a lot of people just needed to hear about, right? And also, you know, taking no for an answer and just being that overachiever, asking for what you want as well too, right? That's how you accelerate your career. You have to be serious about it and let people know that you're serious about it. And a lot of it is by taking on risk as well, you know, not knowing how you're going to do. But if you're a type of person that just gets it done, you're not going to fail, man, because you're going to find people behind you that's going to support you. Absolutely.
You're absolutely right. And I'll tell you one of the things. So when I was in high school and I was working in banking, I was at NCCU. And I didn't take school seriously then. I was playing around. I was working. The money looked good to me at the bank. And I'm in school and I got all the way to my senior year and I quit. And during this period in my life, I felt as though something was missing. And I wanted to go back to school, but I wasn't going to put it on my parents. So I went back to school while working at IBM, put myself through Hampton, paid for it myself, and graduated with a 3.98 GPA working 70 hours a week.
Wow.
Let me tell you something. Was it hard? Yes. Was it a lot of late nights? Absolutely. But it was one of those things that I was determined that felt like a void in my life, and I wanted to go back for me. So the day that I graduated, my little girl was there and my wife is there, and the proudest moment, and she looked at me and said to me, Daddy, I'm proud of you. I also wanted to show her there's nothing that you can't do. Don't ever let someone tell you you can't do something because of the color of your skin. Don't ever let someone tell you you can't go to school. Find another way to do it. Find another way to pay for it. If I did it, you can do it. There are grants out here. There are plenty of opportunities out here. Yep. There are plenty of people who want to go to school but can't. But then find another way to do it. Write for a grant. You don't know how to learn. You know, I was working. Listen. I heard in one of your podcasts you mentioned Kohl's. Well, I used to work for Tallheimers. Okay. Tallheimers was a department store. I worked there part-time, and I also worked at Pizza Hut. I worked at Pizza Hut as a waiter and going to school because at the end of the day, I was supporting myself. So I didn't like the word no, which to me now no means next opportunity. So I didn't like no. I didn't take no for an answer. I moved on. I went and I never looked back. Let me tell you, the lowest grade I ever got was a B, and I was upset. I was upset because I told the teacher at Hampton it was her fault that I got a B, but I moved past it. But I ended up graduating with top honors, but I felt a sense of accomplishment once I got the degree.
Boy, no means next opportunity. I love it, man. I love
Absolutely.
it. Oh man,
Absolutely.
Elder, I know the show is going to be fire, man. So I almost think I need to skip the educational purpose or the educational part questions at this point in time, man. So, no, you know what?
Skip around.
You know what?
Skip around.
I'm gonna go to it. Here we go.
Okay.
Talk about your education and what it has done for you, and why did you choose the field of study of business when you went there at Hampton?
Well, after working in banking for 15 years, I originally, when I was at Central, it was accounting.
Hmm.
And then I switched to finance. But when I got to Hampton, I just focused on business because inside of me has always been an entrepreneurial spirit. I'll be honest with you, because my dad was an entrepreneur along with working full time. He also had businesses. And I knew that I wanted to learn as much as I can. Um, I wanted to expand my mind. I wanted to learn in the different areas of business, excuse me, as much as I could, which is why I chose business. But I will tell you this, when I didn't know HR, I enrolled at Duke University in their HR program
Hmm.
for HR professionals. It was hard, but I paid for that one as well. And because for me, knowledge is power, education is out there for you to gain as much knowledge as you can. So I wanted to take advantage of these things. I wanted to do it for me. And it was the best experience. Hampton is an amazing school. I absolutely love it. And they were good to me, except for that B. And that was the only B in the years that I was there. But that B kind of left me feeling a little salty, but I got past it. But I think education is important. I think go as far as you can. I think you'll find a way to pay for it. I think you'll find a way and take it seriously though. It's not one of those things where I wasn't the guy that went to all the parties. I was the guy that was in school and staying up late doing his homework and writing papers, and I was that guy. I wasn't the guy headed to all the parties because I was on a mission. I was determined that I wasn't going to fail.
Mm.
So it was important for me.
Taking it serious. Taking it
Yes.
serious. You have to take it serious. If I tell people this all the time, if you're going to go to college, take it serious. In the middle of your college years, so your sophomore and junior years, you should be looking for positions on your way out of college at that point in time. I'm like, it should start as
Oh
early,
man, you
even
just
as your
said a
freshman year.
mouthful. You just said a mouthful. You said a mouthful.
Absolutely,
So
man.
while attending NCCU, I had the privilege of sitting on the advisory board
Mm.
in the business. And I'm also, I was going to get to this later, but I'm also a public speaker. I'm a motivational speaker, and people hire me to speak at their events.
Yep.
So it was one of the events that I had to speak at while at NCCU, and a couple of the African Americans that I came across told me, and I asked them, I said, "What are you going to do when you graduate?" One guy told me, he said, "Well, I'm going to open up a strip club." I said, "You going to school for 4 years to open up a strip club? What is that all about?" I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. You going to open up a strip club?" I said, "Where's the building going to be?" "Well, I don't know." I said, "How much money you have?" He said, "I don't have any." I said, "So where is it going to be located?" "I don't know that yet." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, check with me in a couple of years. Let me know how that works out for you." I said, "You don't have a vision. You don't have a plan. Why are you spending 4 years in school to go to open up a strip club, dude? Come
Mm.
on, take it seriously."
Mm.
And I remember speaking at a graduation, and I do a lot of speaking at graduations because one of the things that I say, and I'm really addressing this to African Americans. However, all are taking it and running with it.
Yep.
When I say be on time,
Mm.
I said to some, I said be on time, and I said be professional. When I was part owner of this, I ended up being part owner of that staffing company. I remember we sent a guy out to, and I'm skipping around. I remember we sent him out on a job. He had a suit on and some tennis shoes when I got to the site, and for his interview. And I said to him, and he was a brother. And I said to him, I said, "Listen, dude," I said, "at the end of the day, you're representing my company. and you're going to take this job and you're going to put on some tennis shoes with a suit on. I said, no, this is not acceptable. You need to go home. Obviously, you don't want to work and you don't want to take this seriously. I said, so at the end of the day, since you don't want to take it seriously, I'm going to find people that really, truly want a job and who want to be successful and who want to take care of their families. So I look back now and I believe that in every pocket that I had to pay it forward to help as many young people as possible, I would go and mentor, since I've been here in Austin, in the jails, young Black brothers that are in jail that are not thinking that they have an opportunity to come out and have a different life. It's one of those things where someone has to take the time to spend time with these people, because society has already thrown them away and say, you know, you're never going to be anything. You're never going to amount to anything. I can't help you. There were some that had records when I was in the Carolinas, and I helped them secure a job. You know, there are some companies who are open to that. Now there are a lot more companies who are open to that. And at the end of the day, you don't have to go out here and commit a crime to take care of your family. You can work an honest day's work. I told somebody the other day, and I said, listen, if you can't find a job, why don't you get out here and start cutting grass? I said, you could build a business from cutting grass. I said, if you get enough, you could end up making $100,000 a year. I said, that's more than probably what you're going to make at any company, and you don't have nothing but a high school diploma. And many of them drop out from high school. Yep. So then you need people like Antoine Wade, you need people like Eldred White to give you that real talk to say, listen, now is the time for you to make a change, because ain't nobody else going to do it for you. The only one that's going to look out for you is you. The only one that can be successful is you. Stop settling in someone telling you you will never amount to anything, or you can't have this or you can't have that. When you told me that, let me tell you something. I remember driving an Acura Legend when I was working at the bank, and there were people telling me I was a drug dealer. They didn't know I was working 3 jobs at one time. I drove a 540i BMW, but I'm a drug dealer, but I'm working 3 jobs and I'm taking care of myself and got my own place. It's amazing that they stereotype you into being this negative person. I got pulled over in my Benz one night, and the police officer asked me, "Is this your car?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Why I can't work hard,
right?
And get the things that I want? I work hard.
Yep.
And even brothers at the gas station, what you do to be driving a nice car like that?
Yep.
Well, you could have the same thing. Do you work? I don't want to. Well, then that's the problem number 1 right there, because you don't want to. Come on, brother, go get a job. Stop letting somebody else take care of you. Take care of yourself. But anyway, I'm just veering off.
No, brother, no, man, you getting it, man. You getting it. You was preaching this now, my man.
Oh my God, I feel that thing, man. I felt like it was coming on too. I had to stop.
Oh man! All right, so the people in the chat, how you doing, Miss Linda White? We got Mr. Anton Walker in there. We also got I think Mignon Smack in there. I can't see it from my screen. I apologize if I butchered that name just now. But how you guys? If you guys have any questions, please just throw them out there. You know we make this interactive, guys. Let's jump back to this thing. I gotta get my man Eldred, talking about some really good stuff here. So let's do this. You've been recruiting for technology companies, and you still do recruit for technology companies. What are like the 3 most important things that people need in order for them before they apply for positions at technology companies, from your experience? What are 3 most important things that they need before they apply to any technology position at a technology company? Or any company
I'm gonna keep it so real with you. First of all, stop putting your pictures on your resume. That's number 1. Stop putting your picture on your resume, because you're ruling yourself out. That's number 1. Stop doing that. Number 2, before you apply to the job, this is what I used to do. Print off the job description. Dissect that job description and make sure you got every skill set that's required for that role. All right? So you understand what the requirements are. And then make sure those points are highlighted in your resume. Everything for that particular job before you apply. Third thing is, utilize social media to your advantage.
Mm.
Go to LinkedIn and see who works for that company and start connecting with them. See if you can meet them for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Buy them a $5 cup of coffee, get to know them. You'd be surprised who may forward your resume around, because it's going to be very important that you make that connection. And I would say another thing that's truly important is learn as much as you can about the company. I've seen so many come to interviews so unprepared, and they don't know anything about the company, from the not knowing who the CEO is, not knowing what the company does. And when you ask them the question, oh, I didn't have time to look. Well, you just ruled yourself out right then. So you, being an African American, need to come prepared, being at the top of your game, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people applying to that same job. How are you standing out to be ready and prepared and excited for that interview when the time does come? Before you apply, do all of those things.
Take your picture off your resume. I didn't know people did that, Eldred. People put their picture on it.
I just got one today. You'd be surprised. I was like, this is the other one that came to mind. Stop putting booboo-kitty@yahoo.com on your resume as your email address. You need a professional name. Your first name dot your last name at Yahoo or Gmail. Don't put booboo-kitty love me at Yahoo. That is so unprofessional to me. Put a professional email address on your resume. You're telling a whole lot about you with that email. So stop doing that. But yeah, make sure it's a professional email address.
Ooh, I had a show the other day on a great YouTuber, a good guy, a good friend of mine. His name is Osei Duke Jackson, and one of the things we talked about was just, how to succeed in corporate America. Matter of fact, I made a video on it as well. That's in the Black Heights videos. Great video. Just kind of talks about the game. One of the things that I noticed, Eldred, was just, and I talked about, was perception. How people, see you, how they hear you, and what they feel from you from an energy perspective. I'm guessing when people put their pictures on their resume, yeah, they are automatically disqualifying themselves if they don't give a good perception.
That's it. And make sure you give eye contact. I used to be shy, but make sure you're giving eye contact. People take you seriously when you give the eye contact. Yep. And stop saying the ahs and the ums. Articulate your words. You need to prepare in front of a mirror and ask yourself some questions, or do it with someone. Stop with the ahs and the ums. You are a professional. Act like a professional. Articulate like a professional. It's not that you're not saying I'm not Black, because it's very obvious that I'm Black. Right. But you can be articulate, you can be smart, you can be intelligent, and you want to show them that you're very much capable of doing this job.
All right. I love it, man. I love it. Mr. Antoine Walker says, so true, man. 7 Day Shadow said skills, top skills. You dropping some jewels too, man, Eldred. All right. Let's get to another question in here. So talk about, the 3 most important steps that they should take after applying for the position. That's afterwards.
So one of the things I absolutely love, I have a pretty huge social media following. I utilize social media as much as possible because it just makes my job easier. On Twitter, I have 12,000 followers. Mm-hmm. I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. Put a professional picture on LinkedIn. Don't put the picture of you and your boo-boo kitty dog, the one that your mama gave you, and you love your dog, and they got on a little bow. Don't do all that. Just put a nice picture with a sport coat on, or shirt like what we have on, yep, and a nice picture on LinkedIn. And then at the top, in the search field, search for the name of that company. See how many connections work there with the skill sets that you have that you are applying for, and reach out to them and see if you can have a 5-minute conversation with them. See if they know someone that may be able to connect with you, or even forward your resume, or even pull your resume from the applicant tracking system that they have to get you in front of the hiring manager. I think somebody says, I've never seen a pic on the resume. Oh my God. Listen, I have, and I still do. You'd be surprised, but yeah, I think that's number one. Number two, start preparing yourself by see if they have any events that are upcoming. That company, any hiring events, are they going to be part of any career fairs? If so, go to it. If not, see if you can set up a visit. Call. Listen, be bold. As African Americans, be bold. Listen to me, y'all. I'm gonna say it again. Be bold. Call the company, ask for HR, see if you can speak to somebody. I mean, these other people doing it all the time because they do it all the time. Seriously, call and see if you can speak to someone about the opportunity. Reach out to get a status on your resume or the job that you just applied for. Let them remember who you are, but be professional. And then once there are ways to even get an email address at the company without paying for it. Did you know that?
Yes, I did know that. Yes, absolutely.
I don't think a lot of people do. And I think that when you do, there are ways to go out here. Listen, you can search a person's name. If they're in HR, they went to some kind of event, and all you got to do is figure out what that domain name is and the first and last name of this person and send them an email and reach out to them to say, I applied for this opportunity. I wish if you have 5 minutes of your time, I'd love to talk with you about this opportunity. Connect with others. Don't be ashamed with connecting to the secretary of that company because she's probably the gatekeeper anyway.
Yep.
Connect to the admin, connect to anybody you can. And those are the things that you should do after you apply. And listen, we as African Americans don't just settle in the summertime that you go into work for McDonald's. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with McDonald's. McDonald's is fine. If you go into work for McDonald's corporate, that's great, but you ain't got to flip burgers if you in college. There are too many internship opportunities out here for you to be able to take advantage of. I was so sick and tired of somebody telling me, and I asked them, what you gonna do for the summer? Well, I'm gonna work at Mickey D's. Why? Why you can't go and apply for an internship? You should have 3 under your belt before you graduate college. And afterwards, you need to ask those people that you did an internship with for a reference. Because if you did an internship, most companies are trying to do conversions to convert the interns to full-time hires.
Yep.
Drop that knowledge and remember that, but you got to do an excellent job there. So those are the nuggets that I would say after you apply for the opportunity that you should take advantage of. Use LinkedIn for what LinkedIn is for. It's networking.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That is, that's a big piece of it, Eldred. It is networking. It is building your network. And that's with everybody you touch. That's why it's so important, guys. It is so important to make sure that the perception that you give off on people is always a positive one, because you have no idea that every single person that sees you is a potential transaction in life, guys. And that is part of your network. And you want to come off as being that person that people want to work with, people like, and come off, very professional, guys. The network is very important, man.
Here's one more that a lot of people don't think about. Get to know who that recruiter is. Because if you can the recruiter is the one that's going to pass your resume to the hiring manager. So let me tell you how we had our structure at IBM. So I had a team of recruiters. The recruiter would look at the resume. We got what we call the 10-second rule. When we look at your resume, we looked at your resume to see, we can look at it in 10 seconds to see if you got the skill sets we need. If you did, then we passed your resume on to the hiring manager. Get to know, just Google recruiter in LinkedIn, search recruiter for the name of that company, and then connect to them.
Yep.
Reach out to them, stay connected with them, because you're making their jobs easier. Stay connected to them, reach out to them, follow up with them. If they are local, see if you can meet with them. If they're going to be at job fairs, they're going to be in these different meetups. There are meetups that are happening in your city. Go to the meetups, do a lot of networking, join organizations, do all of those things after you apply to the job, because you'd be surprised at who you run into. Always have your resume updated. Always have your resume with you. Carry a jump drive on your keys. With your keys, you need to put a little jump drive on your keys if you need to. Send it from your phone, have it uploaded to Dropbox, whatever you got to do. Too much technology out here now. Just make sure you always have an updated resume. And they taught me that in banking.
No, that's great. That is great. Mr. Billy Rose said, one of my favorite interview questions is asking someone what has kept them with the company for the duration I found on LinkedIn. There is so much information available to improve our odds of success. Yes, absolutely right, man. That is absolutely right. What do you think about that, Eldred?
Well, I think it's very interesting. Someone reached out to me today and asked me, well, I didn't stay with the company long. What should I say? I said, well, what were the reasons why you didn't stay? And she said, well, it wasn't a culture fit. I said, so why you can't say it's not a culture fit?
Right.
Because it has to be a culture fit. A culture fit is like a baseball to a glove. It has to be a fit for you and it has to be a fit for them. If it's a fit for them and not a fit for you, then you're not going to stay.
Yep.
I said, at the end of the day, you're honest by saying, by the way, that company can only say you work there and the days you work there, right? They're not going to say you left because it wasn't a culture fit. But at the end of the day, if it's not a culture fit, just be honest and say it's not a culture fit, but this is what I'm looking for. So I'm educating our African Americans because I'm telling you what on the other side of the fence that these recruiters are looking for. They're going to ask you all of these questions, and you don't know that they may know somebody at that company and go and reach to them and have a conversation with them. But you saying not a culture fit kind of keeps it at a fine line. You covered when you said it wasn't a culture fit.
That's game. That is game. So Eldred, let's you've been dropping so much knowledge, my man, and thank you so much for coming to bless us on the podcast, guys. The folks who are in the chat, please, if you're watching the video, please like the video. If you haven't, if you're not a subscriber and you came across this video, please do subscribe to the channel. All the new subscribers that we've gotten over the last couple of weeks, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching and you're listening, let's keep this thing going, Eldred. So let's talk about the areas that we as a group, African Americans, need to focus on to increase diversity ourselves in corporations. I know there's a lot of corporations spending, billions of dollars trying to increase corporate diversity. That's a big initiative. That's what the Black Heights Initiative is, as well. But what do specifically areas that you think African Americans need to focus on to increase diversity in the corporations? Because I personally think it's both ways. It's corporations willing to make the investment, and us as a group needing to make the investment as well. Tell me about what are some areas you think we need to focus on to increase diversity in corporations?
One of the things I noticed at IBM is that what they did well was there were some of the schools that they targeted, and those schools were teaching courses in the skill sets that we needed. We need to make sure in the African American community that the historically Black colleges are targeting the skill sets that are hot and popular right now, i.e. Artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, engineers, developers, all of and making sure that our African Americans can go through our security clearance, a TS/SCI poly is hot right now. You have that and it's activated and it's still current. I'm telling you, it opens up so many doors for you. Making sure that you got the certifications. Go back to school if you need to. Go back to school at night, but making sure that you're staying on what the hottest trends are. And how do you find these trends? Well, I'm an avid reader. I love to read. I have to stay on top of current news and current recruiting industry trends and different things like that. Those ones that I name are hot right now. The artificial intelligence, the engineers, the developers, the architects, those skill sets are hot and it's needed. And not a lot of historically Black colleges are teaching those skill sets to prepare those young people that are graduating with those skills. Because if they were, then some of them would find some of these hot jobs that are in Austin, that are in California, that are in some of the major cities. Those are the things that we need to focus on, which is why I'm thankful for Black Heights. I'm thankful for the vision here, because this is an opportunity to take it from a small scale to a big scale, and we teach, even if we have to have a classroom setting and we have instructors that are gifted and smart and knowledgeable in the areas of artificial intelligence, in the areas of cybersecurity, in the areas of a security clearance, how many Blacks do you think are out there that have patents? For one, IBM was #1 with patents for like over 15 years, and they still are. But it wasn't a lot of Blacks that have a lot of patents. Well, who's teaching that, though? Who's teaching you how to write a patent? Who's teaching you those kind of skill sets? We have to teach our own. We have to, in order for them to be successful. I mean, there's plenty of them that are knowledgeable. Some of them just don't know how. It's no different than you thinking as an African American that you can't afford to buy a house. But do you know what it takes to go and buy a house? Do you know what the credit score range is? Do you know what the parameters are? Do you know, have you ever tried to qualify? Knowledge is power. Not knowing is what's holding a lot of people back. And I will take it a step further. When you are out of work and you don't have a job and you can't find a job, create one. Create a job.
Tell them again. Tell them again.
When you're out of work and you don't have a job, go and create a job. Now, as somebody asked me, how do you go and create a job? How do you do that? So let's say that hypothetically you went to school for English. And at the end of the day, you could be starting a blog and just dropping knowledge and just dropping things that are on your mind. Your blog could become one of the largest blogs out there, that you start having people sponsor your blog, paying you money to advertise on your blog. There are so many different ways. Suppose that that blog turns into a book. The book turns into a New York Times bestseller. Then you find a publishing company that want to pay you $500,000 to write your second and third book. Then you got volume 1, 2, and 3 from the second and third. Now you got what we call, what you don't hear in the African American community, is multiple streams of income. Bam.
That's it. That's it, guys. That is it, man. We're teaching some knowledge tonight, man. We are teaching some knowledge. So Eldred, a question came in from the chat from Mignon Smack. She says, Eldred, what's your favorite question to ask to confirm a candidate? What's your favorite question to ask to confirm a candidate?
Are you looking for a job or a career? Because
Why
if you're looking
important?
for a job, because if you're looking for a job, you're not going to stay at this company. If you're looking for a career, you could have longevity. If you're looking for a job, our conversation pretty much is over. Because I'm not going to place you into a job. I'm trying to place you into a career. And then I'm going to ask you, and a lot of them don't know this, but I'm going to ask you, tell me everything you can about that company. Who's the CEO? Who are the people in leadership? All of this stuff is on the web. Tell me what the company does. Because if you can tell me what the company does, I guarantee you're going to hear this question again when they interview you, right? And then tell me I love the question of where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, I don't really know the answer to that. Okay. But that's something you need to think about, because you should have a vision for yourself. You should have a vision for your career. Let me tell you something. At 18 years old, I mapped out a 5-year plan of what I wanted next. After that 5 years was up, I did another 5 years. After that 5 years was up, I did another 5 years, and that included going to school. I wrote on my board, I want to go to school and I want to graduate with honors. I wrote on my board, I want to go to Duke and take this HR class. I paid for it. I went to school. I did all these things. I wrote my short-term vision for my career. I wrote my long-term vision for my career. I wrote my business plan of what I want to do in my businesses. I wrote all these things down on my board, and I kept it in front of me because I wanted a reminder of what I could potentially become and what I can do and how I can help others. So at this point in my career, I have a business, and I'm going to tell you my next level in my business, I'm going to have to hire people because I can't. A successful businessman will never be able to do this alone. Anthony, you can't build Black Heights by yourself. Nope. You got to have people smarter than you.
Yes.
Helping you build Black Heights. You got to have people that love to teach, that are energetic, that are powerful, that have a way with corporations because you want money from those corporations.
Exactly.
If they can give you money for XYZ, they can give you money for Black Heights. And there's some of them that will give you so much that they can write it off at the end of the year anyway.
Exactly. Oh man, Eldred, I love the piece about writing it down, because you will not accomplish any of your visions without seeing it, guys. I mean, write it down. Write it down. Oh,
if I didn't have personal stuff on my board in front of me, numbers and money and all that stuff, I would show you, because I have a big white board, an erasable one, and I have 3 sections with different things that I'm working on. I have to. Because you use your brain for what you need to use your brain for.
Yep.
Don't try to remember all this stuff off the top. That's why you can write it down. You write the vision, and you have a short-term goal as it relates to your career. Have a list of companies that you're targeting. If you want to work for Nike, then make sure that you do what you can to find out when Nike is hiring and where the career opportunities are at Nike. I mean, they have events all over the place. What are the locations where Nike is hiring?
Portland,
you
Oregon.
could do it.
That's true. That's right, man.
You can do it.
No, and here's the thing, guys, right? You know, all the stuff that Eldred and I are communicating about, you know, it's about, you know, corporate America, and not only that, it's about playing the game as well, guys. We're giving you an education on how to succeed and get the jobs that you want to get in corporate America, or just in general, right? In business in general. It doesn't matter if it's corporate America or not. It's just this same thing applies to any other, you know, corporate or job structure that's out there, whether it's a large corporation, small corporation, or a small business, blah, blah, blah. Same stuff applies there as well. So when people ask you the question, what are you looking for, a job or a career? You better always say career. It doesn't matter if you're just looking for a job. You better always say career.
You better say career. You just ruled yourself out. Listen,
exactly.
When I was with IBM in one role, and IBM is 400,000 employees. I mean, it's a big company. You can get lost and it could be intimidating.
Yep.
But I remember I was on late one night. I was doing some recruiting, and this VP reached out to me, and she was a white woman. She reached out to me, and she knew I was in HR because you can see where the person works. She didn't know me, but she had a question. And she's like, I don't see anybody else online. You online. I don't know why you on this late. But anyway, I said, well, sure. How can I help you? First of all, number one, always be pleasant. And you don't know who you're entertaining. So always be nice. That's number one. So I responded to her. I said, well, sure. How can I help you? I'm working on some things. How can I help you? And she said, well, I'm having a problem with the system. I don't know how to process this. I said, well, let me do it. She said, well, can we jump on the phone? Now it's 10 o'clock at night, my time. I said, sure. So I jumped on the phone with her, talked to her, and she said to me, if there's anything I can ever help you with, Eldred, let me know. She said, if you're ever looking for a mentor, let me know. Wow. That woman became my next mentor, who was a VP at IBM, white woman. Wow. Now, number two, there was another executive that said to me, I heard that you are a subject matter expert with this applicant tracking. I got some questions. I need your help. I don't know how to close this out. She said to me, if I can ever do anything with you, anything for you, let me know. And I said, well, as a matter of fact, I'm interested. My next role that I mapped out years ago was this business partner role. And she said to me, well, would you be open to relocation? I said, absolutely. So IBM moved me to Austin. So a lot of people don't know my story with that, but they moved me from North Carolina to Austin for that partner role. But it was her boss and her boss's boss that reached out to me and said, I understand you're interested. I heard great things about you. I want to talk to you further about this. And I interviewed. Then there was a challenge that came. The guy that was the manager of the partner role was a brother. And he said to me, he interviewed me. The first thing he said on my first day of the interview, he said to me, well, I need to ask you a question. I want to see how you're going to respond to this. He said, you left a period off on your resume at the end of one sentence. I'm going to take my glasses off because this was my look. And I said, okay. I said, well, I'm sorry. I said, if you point it out, I will go and correct it. What he was trying to do was to see how I would handle conflict, how I would handle criticism.
Yep.
and I handle it with poise and ease. Sometimes you're being tested by some of these people in corporate America, and they want to see how you're going to handle it, whether you're going to be ready for that next level. When that guy hired me based upon my comment, and I did very well in the role. But I said that to say you never know where your blessing is going to come from. You don't know who's watching you. You don't know who's watching you at these companies at the time you get there. How many times are you late? How many times are you raising your hand to do more than just what your job requires? Some things require you to step outside of your comfort zone and raise your hand to work on these special projects.
Eldred, man, we we going through the questions. Matter of fact, I don't even need to ask the questions. You're just dropping some game, brother. We got 2 questions in the chat, and I want to make sure I get to the folks in the chat, guys. You know, okay. Eldred is getting with us, so we got a tag-on question to the previous question, which was, what is the deciding factor on choosing between 2 equally qualified candidates? That's a good question.
What is the deciding factor on choosing between 2 equally qualified candidates?
Yes, sir.
It could come down to personality. You know, you could have the best resume. Your resume could be sharp. It could be crisp. You had your picture up there you shouldn't have, and your attitude is terrible. Your attitude is bad. It could be coming down to just that. Your attitude is bad. I mean, I've seen managers not hire someone because they felt like, I don't think I can work with that personality. You don't listen, just because you are an African American, you don't have to come off hard. You don't have to come off negative, Nancy. You don't have to come off like you know it all. You got to be open to learn. And listen, you never know that you could go through 4 rounds of interviews and you get to this person. I had a person tell me when I interviewed at the last company, Antoine, that I was too nice. They told me I was too nice. They said, there's an underlying factor with him. He's too nice. And my answer to that was, no, you just don't know me. I'm just me. I'm just Eldred. I'm always the same. What you see is what you get. I said, I don't know what you mean by too nice. I don't know exactly what that means, but I treat people with respect. I said, me being in HR, I respect all diversity, all cultures, anyone. I respect everybody. I said, but I also want respect.
That's it.
So
That's
if you mean that I'm being too nice, I'm sorry you feel that way, but my skills speak for themselves. My knowledge speaks for itself. My education speaks for themselves. My accomplishments speak for themselves. And I knew that I could do the job without a shadow of a doubt. And I proved that.
Wow.
And they were like, oh, I wasn't expecting that response. That's the thing. When you're knowledgeable about your skill set, you don't have to come off arrogant. You don't have to come off condescending, but you can look and you can smile and say, you know, that's a very good question. And maybe that's something I feel like I need to work on. But just to kind of come back to it, let me tell you why I feel like I would do well at this job. Let me tell you my skill set. Let me tell you my accomplishments. Let me tell you what I'd love to be able to do in the first 90 days at your company.
Yep. That's confidence. That is confidence when you know your skill sets. That is absolutely it. You're absolutely right. So Miss Linda White said, this is a good question. How do you answer what are your weaknesses when you are in the interview?
That's a very good question. And by the way, Antoine, Linda's my wife.
Oh, okay. How you doing, Miss Linda?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. And I'll tell you, so there's no perfect person. All right. And so you don't know it all. And if you come across as a know-it-all, you just talk yourself out of that job. I remember I was asked that question, and my response, I remember it like it was yesterday. I said, my response to that question is sometimes I work too much and sometimes I don't know how to shut it off. And I said, and that's something I need to work on. I need to balance my work life. I work a lot, and there were times that I would take my laptop on vacation with me. I said, so I consider that a weakness. And I said, and also I want to do it all. I want to do it all. I want to know it all. I can't know it all. I said, so I have to take a breather and I have to process and I have to learn. But I have to also learn how to say no because I can't do it all. That's a weakness. Because sometimes I don't say no. But that's a very good question.
So it's turning your strengths into, or what you would consider to be weaknesses, and using them to leverage your strengths as well, right? So it's not
Absolutely.
really, yeah. That is a fantastic answer.
One of the things I learned in psychology, I had a great psychology teacher in school. In fact, they told me that I should have been a psychologist. And then when I looked at the salary, I could make more in HR. But know the salaries, know your worth, dude. That's another thing, know your worth. Do your research on the salaries and decide on what you want. Because it's one thing you can talk yourself out of, you get a great opportunity and you lowball yourself because you don't know your worth. But I remember my psychology teacher said, think about your response. Play it out in your mind before you say it. He said, think about it. Think about it before you say it. If you need to take one pause and think about what that response is, because you can't take it back once you say it. Once you say it, it's already out there, so you can't take it back. But think about what you're going to say. Practice what you're going to say before you say it, because they're going to write down everything you say, and then somebody else is going to piggyback off of it in the second interview.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff. That is good stuff. Mr. Rowe said, you never know who is watching. That is how I went from phone rep to analyst on a handshake interview. Companies invest in employees with a strong work ethic. Absolutely, brother. You are absolutely right. We got another question here, which is a good segue into this other part. Eldred, I know we had this thing set up for an hour. You got some more time with us, brother?
Oh, I'm good, man. Listen, I'm the owner of my own company. I can do whatever I want.
I love it. All right. Okay. So Mr. Erwin Herring, that's my brother right there. FAU roommate, man. As a recruiter, what was your biggest challenge when it came to increasing diversity in companies? So, let's move on to, we talked about what African Americans could do themselves to increase, corporate diversity, and you focus on, the schools really focusing on the top skills that are needed, right, to get the jobs. Let's talk about what corporations could be doing, and talk about your challenge with increasing, diversity as a recruiter.
So that's a very good question to your brother. I'm thankful for him asking that question, because I'll tell you, one of the first things, and you're probably going to be surprised at my response, is that every major company needs to have a diverse pool of recruiters working for them. They need to have some diverse talent recruiting for them, because if you have a brother like Antoine or a brother like Eldred recruiting, Antoine and Eldred are going to make sure that they got a diverse pipeline coming into that hiring manager's bucket to be able to look at a diverse pool of candidates. But I would say if they don't, one of the things that me as a contingency agency is that I'm going to provide them a diverse pool of people. One of the things at IBM, I managed a program called Inroads, which was, I don't know if you guys have heard of it before, but it's African Americans. Inroads was, I would say, it's a lot of diversity, but it's a lot of African Americans. There was a GM program. These programs cost a lot of money. However, it was minorities that were in these programs that we would take the minorities and move them into roles at IBM. I also manage the veteran space at IBM, and I also manage persons with disabilities. Because I know about all these programs, I utilize these resources to find talent, especially alumni of these programs, to reach out for a referral if I have a company that's looking for XYZ. Because the people that reach out to me right now are not brothers and sisters. It's a lot. It's a lot of Caucasian people, but I want more African Americans to reach out to me, because sometimes I don't think African Americans realize that they are knowledgeable and smart enough to be able to do these jobs. I need their confidence level to be a little bit higher. And I go out to them and I have a question with them, or I talk with them, and they were like, oh, I didn't know that was a transferable skill that I could use for XYZ, especially if you're coming out of the military. And I'm like, of course it is. So I'm having these conversations with my peer brothers and sisters and saying, well, these are some things that I can do. Also, if a company reaches out to me to do some consulting, the first thing I'm going to notice is on your recruiting platform, how many African Americans do you have? How many people do you have? And what's your diversity policy? What is the policy that you have? Because at IBM, we had to meet EEOC goals. So we had to have so many people, hired in XYZ, but all companies are not like that. But I'm looking at how are you recruiting and where are you recruiting from? You won't have a lot of people going to Hampton, and you should. You don't have to physically go there. You can just email the career center and give them the job and tell them what the job is. That's what I did when I didn't travel. I went and did my own research, and I reached out to every historically Black college, got a person's name, and I would send them the job and say, this is what I want you to do. I want you to post it on your career page, and before the end of the week, I need 10 resumes. Because I can't do it by myself. I need 10 resumes from your school. I want to see the ones that are graduating. I want to see the one. And let me tell you what I told them. I need people that have done internships. I want no excuses. This is what I want. If they've done internships, they got a certain GPA, I want to see them. If they got this skill set, I want to see them. But you got to have, and this is why some people are just focused on using a minority-owned contingency agency such as mine, because they can't find diverse talent.
Yep.
Let me do the hard work. But that's a good question. That's a big challenge. I want more people. I want more African Americans applying for jobs on LinkedIn. You see the pool, and it's small.
Yep.
It's very small. And they look at different things. They look at factors like on Glassdoor, the reviews. If the reviews of that company are horrible, then they're not going to apply. They're not going to apply to it. But they don't know, sometimes they don't know that an Antoine Wade works at this particular company, and he can give you an insight into the company.
No, that's a great answer, Eldred. So let's talk about this. We got another question in here, and then this is a personal one for you, Eldred. What's the book, and this is from Mr. Anton Walker, what's the book that impacted your life and career the most?
Hold on, I'm gonna find it. Hold on, I got 25 new books sitting up here that I have to read this year, but one of them I love the most, and I'm gonna get it because I want you to buy it.
Yep.
This is one. Can you see that one?
Now lift it up a little bit, Eldred. There we go. Oh, Built to Last. Is that that's a good one. I haven't read that one yet.
A good one. And hold on, there's one more. Here's this other one. This one I recommend everybody buy. It is The First 90 Days.
Oh, I read that one. That's a great book, man.
Oh, man. I'm telling you, it changed my life.
Yep.
It's very good. I highly recommend it. The First 90 Days.
Got it.
Listen, if you get this book and you get these two books and you read them cover to cover, just keep reading them. I promise you will be ahead of the curve than a lot of your peers. Get them, read them. And knowledge is power. I would say make sure that you read, and that's another thing. We as African Americans need to have more book clubs, especially to be able to educate our brothers and sisters to say, listen, this is what changed my life. I highly recommend. If I need to do a podcast every day to say, get this book, read this book, it'll change your life. Do it. Get this book, read this book, it will change your life.
And here's the thing, Eldred, and I don't want to go there, but I'm going to go there. What I'm finding out now is these sorts of advice shows aren't the ones that get a lot of our attention. It has to be things around entertainment, right? And we just really need to start focus on the things that are important, that's going to help us get ahead in life. And that's that's what Black Heights is bringing. It's bringing you to exposure to different jobs, to different fields, to, different ways of thinking, which should help everybody who comes across this video. And it doesn't matter of race. It is something for everyone, right? The other day, Mr. Billy Rowe had a wonderful show on his podcast on YouTube. And I would subscribe to this brother. Really good, talented brother. It was about, the difference between buying a single family home and a multifamily home. And it was just a wonderful presentation of how you can continue to increase your overall wealth by going with the multifamily route, right? And I know that's not for everyone, but it's just educating you on different ways to do things to increase your wealth over time and how to get ahead, right? I love these sort of things, but I must say, on YouTube, at least from my knowledge so far, I've only been on YouTube since November. These aren't the shows that get a lot of views, but we're going to continue to push it and we're going to grow the views because we're going to be changing everybody we come across, man. We're going to be changing everybody we come across, man.
Love it. There's a good question right there that I'd love to answer.
What is that one? Let's see. All right. Okay.
What do you do if a candidate unexpectedly rejects your job offer?
No, that's a good one.
Tamara, you probably are going to be very surprised at my response. But listen, say thank you and move on. Because let me tell you something. A lot of people are just shopping for the highest salary. And they're shopping for the one that's going to get them the highest sign-on bonus. And they don't half the time, some of them don't even know what they want. So if he rejects your offer, you should always have a plan B anyway and have some other candidates in the pipeline in case the first one reject, you got the plan B to go and extend an offer to. Just be thankful because there's a reason, and for whatever the reason is, sometimes we don't understand that reason. Just move on and be thankful and go with the second one.
Be thankful, y'all. Be thankful. Know your worth. Know your true worth as well, man. All right, so let's move to the closing rounds of this interview, man. I can tell you this, man. This has been so much knowledge that Eldred has dropped on us tonight. I know there's a lot of takeaways, but let's go to Black Heights, and you talked about it just briefly. What are your thoughts on Black Heights and this initiative, Eldred?
I think that we're in a season, especially with a lot of things that are happening in the African American community, where we need this. It takes a village. And I honestly have said this for so long. It's like I can do, I was selected as one of Black Austin's people to look out for, watch out for. And it was in one of the magazines here. And when they reached out to me, I was thankful. But I'm like, well, I'm doing what I think everybody should be doing. Like, I'm thinking that all African Americans should be looking out. If you are a CEO of a Fortune 500, Fortune 100, or Fortune 50, whatever it may be, then you should be helping other African Americans. I think that Black Heights is going to have a major impact in this world. Yeah. I think that what you're doing is absolutely amazing and it's needed. I wish it was around when I was 17, 18 years old. I probably would be a billionaire by now. I'm trying to get there. I think what you're doing is amazing. And at some points it can get frustrating, the path that you're going, because it doesn't seem like you're getting to where you want to go fast enough. And I would say, stay the course. I would say, hold on. I would say you're in the season of where you need to be, because the best is yet to come with this. And let me tell you why. The generation, my daughter is 13 years old. She'll be 14 in September. At the age of 5, I taught her the computer and how to navigate it. I taught her all of these things, right? Personally, because I can't rely on the school. I have to also, I need the help of others to watch her when she's not around me, the community, the village, if you know what I mean. Yeah. They watch to make sure that the social media, that she's not doing this and she's not doing that. If we don't look out for our own, no one else will. Yeah. No one will. If you're building such a major brand and such a major company here, that it's going to change the lives of this next generation that's being raised up in the African American community. We need this. So we had the places where the young Black boys could go and play basketball and all these things. But when I go and I speak, nobody's telling you how to interview. Nobody's telling you how to go after a corporate job. Nobody's telling you what your resume should look like. Nobody's telling you how to dress. I remember giving one guy a suit. He said, I don't have a suit for my interview. I went in my closet. I gave him a brand new suit because at the end of the day, we have to help one another.
Yep.
And I believe that we all have a responsibility to help one another to be very successful. You got one life to impact on this earth. And while we're still on this earth, let's help as many people as we can. That's why I think Black Heights is needed.
I don't think I don't think anyone has said it better, Eldred. I don't think anyone has said it better, man. Wow. Thank you so much, my man. And of course, you know what? I am staying the course, man. I am staying the course. I have a lot of big weight behind me, and they're pushing me forward, and we've gotten a lot of support so far, man. It's been absolutely fantastic. It has been challenging, of course, a lot of late nights,
Sure.
But of course, It's been challenging, but it's been absolutely fantastic. Let's talk about you. So 2 more questions before we wrap this up.
Sure.
How do you balance work, life, and family, right? You own your own travel agent, you're your own CEO. You have a family, you're married, your wife is watching. How do you balance all of this, work, life, and family?
After working so many hours at these companies, life changes you. So, and not to get sad or anything, I lost my identical twin 4 years ago. And I mean, identical. We looked just like two bookends. And it changed my perspective on things. One of the things I wanted to do is that because I own my own travel company, I see deals that are so amazing. I wanted to give my daughter, a Black little girl, as much exposure to the different cultures as possible. So, I mean, we've been to, every year I try, and I wrote this down because I wanted to tell you, we've been to so many different places. I took her to Mexico, Grand Caymans, the Bahamas, Jamaica, Virgin Islands. We went to Alaska last year. We went to British Columbia. We're going to Cuba in June. Next year, I'm going to Dominican Republic. I want to take her I want to give her so much exposure to other cultures because once she goes off to college, I don't want her to ever be afraid to experience things. So I made a pact to myself that I'm going to take my vacations. I'm not going to work on my vacations. When I take my time or when I sign off, I sleep peacefully and sound at night. I don't let stuff keep me up. I spend the time with my wife. We have to have our date nights. We have to enjoy one another. We have to have fun. I remember in working at IBM, my mom was rushed to the hospital one time. And when I got there was a lady sitting in the break room in the little area, and she was crying. And I asked her what was wrong. Me being HR, I got to fix everybody. So I said, what's wrong? And she said, my husband had a heart attack and he's in there on his laptop. I said, well, where does he work? She said, IBM. And I'm like, well, if he works at IBM and he's here in North Carolina, he's in my territory. So I walked into his room and he's on his laptop. And I said, dude, I'm HR at IBM. You on your laptop and you just had a heart attack. He said, I got to get this project out. I said, if you don't close the laptop down, I'm going to write you up. I promise you, I'm gonna make sure you are written up because your health is important.
Right.
You got one life to live. You got beautiful family. You spend time with them. Life is precious. One of the things that I find so interesting about the African American community is that they don't think they can afford to take a vacation. You know what I'm saying? They don't think, and one of the things that I love about me owning a travel agency is that if you plan it enough time, you can do layaway and make small payments. Yep. But some people don't. They have that mindset that I can't afford to, or I can't do this, or I can't go, or I can't afford it. I wish I could, and all you're doing is working all the time, and you have nothing to show for it at the end. Nothing. So I think work-life balance is just that, work-life, and you balance it. Yep. You decide on what's a priority on your vision board. On your short and long-term goals, put a trip up there that you want to take. Go on a nice trip. You earn it. You deserve it. Because here's the thing that I say to anybody, and I don't want to sound morbid when I say this, but it's the truth. If you were to leave, if you knew that you were leaving this world in 1 week, what would you do different? Well, then if you don't know, none of us know when we're leaving this earth.
Yep.
So start doing those different things now. If I'm writing 3 books at one time, I didn't talk about that, but I am. I'm going to finish those 3 books this year. I am. I'm going to finish all.
I can't wait to read
them. When I finish them, you have me back and I'll talk about them.
Yes.
I'm writing 3 books. I bought another laptop so I can finish writing my books. That was a goal of mine, just like going back to school.
Yep.
Because I feel like all of us have a voice. Everybody has a gift and a purpose. Now you just got to determine what that purpose is and how you're going to make impact on this earth. That's what's important. That's a takeaway.
Which leads me into, yes, what is, for anyone who watching this, right? I mean, like there's been 20 to a dozen half other takeaways from this video, which has been absolutely fantastic, right? For anyone watching this video, who just forwards it to the end and wants the key takeaway or 3, what are your takeaways from this podcast, Eldred? What are 3 key things that you want somebody just to hone on, just to improve their life, or improve their chances of getting to corporate America or getting hired in everyday life? What are 3 key takeaways you would want somebody who's watching this video to remember?
I remember being in the car with my mother, and she said to me, we were passing a grave site, and she said to me, how many people over there are dead? And I said, I guess 100. She said, no, all of them. It made me think that how many people have passed away that didn't fulfill their purpose? How many people passed away that didn't leave a legacy to others? How many people passed away that didn't write those books or pay it forward to help the next generation? What are you leaving for the next generation? What are you doing to help the next generation? What are you doing to prepare them so they're not lost? What are you leaving behind? What are you doing? What are you doing right now that you could do in your volunteer time to help a young person or to help someone get a job? I told a young lady, she called me, we helped her find a job, but I said to her, but what, and she was surprised. I said, what are you going to do to pay it forward? She said, huh? I said, no, I'm serious. What are you doing to pay it forward? How are you going to help somebody else? You can't be successful, rise up the ranks, become a CEO, and you don't help others. It's time for you to think about this and pay it forward. If you got job openings on your job, and every person in this chat room knows of a job opening, at least one, refer someone in the African American community to that job. Tell somebody about it. Put it on your Facebook. Help somebody. We all got to help. We can't do it by ourselves. Help somebody else. Pay it forward. Go to these meetups and talk to people, network. You'd be surprised, as another takeaway, how the next opportunity for you may open up just from you having a conversation. Don't be afraid to go to these meetups because you're shy. Didn't nobody say you had to go in there and be the public speaker, but you just going in there to say hello and just get to know people. You'd be surprised what someone think of you, or where your next blessing is coming, or your next opportunity. I guarantee you at least 5 or 6 people on this chat right now are looking for other opportunities. And they want to know how to get exposure with their resume into these other companies. Well, if you go to LinkedIn, somebody works at that company. Connect to them. It doesn't hurt. They don't know you. What are they going to say? No? And what does no mean? Next opportunity.
I love it.
Move on. I mean, just move on.
Yep.
Don't let no one steal your confidence or belittle you because you are an African American. Your confidence and your knowledge, listen, you should be at least reading some books right now. Not just the ones I talk about, but you should be reading to increase your vocabulary so you can have an intelligent conversation. I remember working part-time at a company called Warden Brothers. It was stock. And I didn't know anything about the stock market, but I wanted to learn. And I don't want someone just to tell me everything. I want to learn it on my own. I'm like a sponge. I think to soak it up. So I started working there because I wanted to learn the stock market. Oh, I did very well in the stock market. but I work there part-time, and I'm calling these white people, and they're telling me where they want to invest it. I'm wrote it down. I'm going to invest a little bit over here. I'm going to invest a little bit. I'm going to invest a little bit over here too. Listen, you take every job you've ever had should be a learning experience.
Absolutely.
You should take something away from that job, and you should be ready to move on to something else. I take all of these years, and it's been over 30 years I've been working in corporate America, to bundle it up into my companies, because I wanted to do something different than what everybody else was doing.
Yep.
I wanted to help others. That's my takeaway.
Beautifully said, man. Fulfill your purpose, guys, right? And pay it forward. Go to meetups. You know, put yourself out of your comfort zone. Your next opportunity may be just around the corner, right? It's about networking. And also, don't let anyone steal your confidence because you are an African American, guys. That was really deep right there, right? And know this, right? Every experience that you're in is a learning experience, especially if you're in corporate America, right? Eldred said something that it took him, 20 plus years to build what he's doing today. It's taken me 14 plus years, and I'm still, working on building what I'm doing today with Black Heights, but also working at Each Open as well. You really have to have a vision, right? And I think this is one of the most important things is, to have a vision board. You have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're living a life that's just going to be unsatisfactory for you, right? Because you don't know what you want to accomplish. Accomplish the things that you write down. It's about that vision, guys. It is about the vision.
Eldred. One last comment I want to make.
Yes, sir.
Don't chase money. Let money chase you. Don't chase money. Let money chase you. Because know your worth. Don't chase the money. Let the money chase you. If you know your worth, it's coming. You pay it forward, it's coming.
Yep.
You help somebody else, it's coming.
Yep.
Just the last nugget I wanted to share.
Nah, it's been wonderful, Eldred. So people have been watching this for over the last just about an hour and a half now. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, right? I know you have a LinkedIn. How do they get a hold of you? Whether you use social medias, your other businesses, how do they get a hold of you, man?
Well, one of the things I did, and I thought it was real easy to do. I prayed, and this was easy for me. I branded myself, because you are a brand. You are a brand. Black Heights is a brand. Everybody in this room is a brand. You represent your brand. So I branded my name. So it's easy to find me. It's Eldred at EldredWhiteTravel.com. It's Eldred at EldredWhiteRecruiting.com. You can go to www.eldredwhite.com. You can go to www.eldredwhitetravel.com. You can go to Instagram. You can go to Twitter. You can go to Facebook. You can even Google me. I promise you, my cell phone number is all over social media. Get in touch with me. See how I can help you. I'm more than happy to. We got to pay it forward.
Man, Eldred, man, this has been an absolutely fantastic podcast. Guys, as always, thank you so much for joining us and making this an interactive show. Please like the video. Let's get the likes up. Let's subscribe to the YouTube channel if you thought this was a fantastic episode. We need more subscribers. We're going to grow the brand of Black Heights, and we're going to be bringing on some smart, intelligent people like Mr. Eldred White on a weekly basis, guys. Thank you so much for all your support, Eldred. Man, I can't thank you enough, my brother.
When you're in town, you hit me up so that we can get together.
Absolutely.
All right.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.